Have you ever wondered why some people, regardless of how much they earn, seem to always struggle with money? Or why others, with modest incomes, manage to build lasting wealth and security? The answers, as Morgan Housel explains in The Psychology of Money, aren't just about financial formulas or investment strategies, they're about human behavior. Unlike most books about money, this one doesn't focus on spreadsheets, stock charts, or retirement accounts. Instead, it dives into the deeply emotional, psychological, and sometimes irrational ways we think about money. Housel argues that managing money isn't just a matter of knowing what to do, it's about understanding why we do what we do. After all, money isn't just numbers. It's about freedom, security, fear, and ambition. Housel's perspective is refreshingly human. He doesn't lecture you on how to beat the stock market or promise quick riches. Instead, he acknowledges that everyone's relationship with money is unique, shaped by their upbringing, personal experiences, and the era they grew up in. For example, someone who lived through the Great Depression will view risk and savings very differently from someone who came of age during a booming economy. These personal histories influence our decisions far more than the rational advice we're often told to follow. One of the book's central ideas is that wealth isn't about how much you earn. It's about how much you save and how you manage what you have. Housel shares compelling stories and insights that challenge traditional notions of wealth and success. He emphasizes that building wealth is less about intelligence and more about patience, humility, and discipline. It's about avoiding reckless decisions in pursuit of quick gains and recognizing that the most important part of wealth isn't flashy, it's invisible. Housel also introduces the concept of enough, knowing when you've achieved what you need and resisting the temptation to chase more, often at great cost. This idea is particularly relevant in a world where comparisons and consumerism push us to always want what others have. He reminds us that financial happiness isn't about having everything, it's about having enough for what truly matters to you. In this video, we'll explore the core themes of the psychology of money, including the power of compounding, the role of luck and risk, and why most financial success comes down to how you behave, not what you know. Housel's wisdom will change the way you think about money, helping you make better decisions not just for today, but for the long term. If you've ever struggled with money management, felt overwhelmed by financial jargon, or simply wanted a better understanding of how to build wealth, this book offers a clear and relatable roadmap. Housel's insights are practical, timeless, and rooted in the belief that money is as much about psychology as it is about math. Before we dive into the details, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more summaries of life-changing books. Share in the comments, what's the biggest lesson you've learned about money so far? Now, let's unravel the fascinating psychology of money and learn how to build a healthier, more purposeful relationship with it. The psychology of money is a profound exploration of how we think about, handle, and sometimes mishandle our finances. Morgan Housel presents the fascinating idea that our relationship with money is less about formulas and more about human behavior. He opens with a simple yet powerful observation. Financial success isn't solely about intelligence or strategy. It's deeply rooted in psychology and the soft skills of decision-making. Housel introduces us to this concept through stories of individuals like Ronald Read, a janitor who amassed millions through patience and consistent investing, and Richard Fuscone, a highly educated finance executive who lost everything because of greed and poor financial habits. These stories highlight a crucial point. Wealth building isn't about how much you know, it's about how you behave. One of the most memorable stories Housel shares involves a tech executive who flaunted his wealth but eventually went broke. This story made me think about a similar situation I witnessed. I had a friend who, after a huge financial windfall, spent lavishly on cars, gadgets, and vacations. I remember admiring his apparent success, but later learning he'd gone bankrupt because he couldn't rein in his spending. What struck me about Housel's story and my friends is how much emotions, pride, and insecurity can overshadow financial logic. Housel also explores the role of luck and risk in financial outcomes. He shares the story of Bill Gates, who happened to attend one of the few schools in the world with access to a computer in the 1960s, giving him a unique advantage that shaped his career. On the flip side, Housel recounts the tragedy of Gates' friend, Kent Evans, whose potential was cut short by a mountaineering accident. These stories remind us that outcomes in life, including financial success, often depend on factors beyond our control. What really stayed with me was Housel's discussion of compounding, which he describes as the most powerful force in finance. He explains that Warren Buffett's success isn't just due to his investment acumen, but his consistency over decades. Starting at age 10 and continuing into his 90s, Buffett allowed compounding to work its magic. Housel contrasts this with the typical investor who gets impatient, chasing high returns, and often losing in the long run. One of the book's standout lessons is the idea of enough. Housel warns against the endless pursuit of more, a trap that often leads to financial ruin. He tells the cautionary tale of Rajat Gupta, a millionaire who risked everything for the chance to join the billionaire club, only to lose his reputation and freedom. Housel's advice is clear: know when to stop. The constant chase for more can cost you the things that truly matter: your peace, relationships, and integrity. In reading this section, I reflected on a time I worked relentlessly to hit a financial milestone, only to realize it didn't make me any happier. I'd achieved the goal, but at the expense of quality time with my family and health. Housel's emphasis on defining enough resonated deeply with me. It's a reminder that wealth isn't just about numbers, it's about contentment. The book also highlights how individual experiences shape our perceptions of money. For example, someone who grew up during the Great Depression may view risk and saving differently than someone raised in a booming economy. Housel emphasizes that our financial decisions are driven by these unique life experiences, which means what seems rational to one person may seem irrational to another. Housel masterfully weaves in the concept of behavioral biases, like overconfidence and herd mentality, which often lead us astray. One of his examples involves lottery ticket buyers, people who often can't afford the tickets but purchase them anyway for the dream of a better life. This example struck a chord because it illustrates how emotion often overrides logic in financial decisions. As the first part of the psychology of money comes to a close, Housel reiterates that success with money isn't about spreadsheets or IQ. It's about patience, humility, and understanding the role of psychology in our decisions. Continuing into the second half of the psychology of money, Morgan Housel digs even deeper into the nuances of our financial behavior, exploring themes like time, perspective, and how our definitions of success evolve. One of the most thought-provoking chapters discusses the idea that wealth is often invisible. This was a revelation to me because it challenges the flashy, materialistic notions of wealth we're so often sold. Housel explains that real wealth isn't what you see, it's what you don't. The expensive cars, designer clothes, and extravagant vacations may look like wealth, but they often represent the absence of it. True wealth is the ability to live comfortably, without stress, and to have options. This reminded me of a neighbor I once had who lived modestly, but was secretly saving for early retirement. While others showed off their purchases, he quietly built a life of freedom. Years later, while many around him were still struggling, he retired early, debt-free, and content. Housel's message is clear. The richest person isn't the one with the most toys, it's the one with the most control over their time and choices. Housel also explores the idea of avoiding behavioral sinkholes, those bad habits that drain wealth and happiness over time. He warns against comparing ourselves to others, a behavior amplified by social media. It's easy to feel like we're falling behind when we see peers posting about their new homes or luxurious vacations, but Housel reminds us that these comparisons are often incomplete. We don't see the debt, stress, or sacrifices behind the scenes. This chapter resonated with me personally. I've fallen into that trap, scrolling through Instagram and wondering if I'm doing enough. Housel's advice to stay focused on your own goals was a refreshing antidote to that nagging feeling of inadequacy. One of the standout lessons in this section is Housel's discussion of long-term thinking. He emphasizes that true financial success is about playing the long game, understanding that time is the most important factor in building wealth. Housel revisits the concept of compounding, but adds an emotional layer to it: patience. He acknowledges that it's hard to stay the course when the rewards aren't immediate, but he argues that the best decisions are the ones that prioritize the distant future over instant gratification. Housel also touches on the unpredictable nature of the world and how this unpredictability affects our financial plans. He introduces the concept of room for error, or margin of safety. This isn't just about saving for a rainy day. It's about expecting that the rainy days will come and preparing for them. He shares examples of successful investors who don't aim for the highest returns, but instead prioritize resilience. This is advice I wish I'd taken earlier in life when I was overly optimistic about some investments and ended up in tough situations because I didn't leave enough room for error. In one of my favorite sections, Housel examines the balance between optimism and pessimism. He argues that while optimism drives progress and growth, a touch of pessimism keeps us grounded. He says we should hope for the best but prepare for the worst. This duality struck a chord with me, especially when thinking about times I've been overly optimistic in business ventures, only to realize later that I should have had contingency plans. Housel's chapter on saving as a mindset is another gem. He reframes saving not as an act of deprivation, but as a form of freedom. Saving gives you options, reduces stress, and creates opportunities. He talks about how living below your means isn't a sacrifice, it's an investment in your future. This perspective has changed how I think about saving. It's no longer just about money, it's about what that money represents: freedom, security, and the ability to make choices without constraint. Another fascinating part of the book is Housel's perspective on retirement. He challenges traditional notions of what retirement should look like. Instead of seeing it as the end of work, he suggests viewing it as the freedom to choose how you spend your time. For some, this might mean continuing to work in a less stressful capacity or pursuing passion projects. This resonated deeply with me because I've seen family members who, after retiring, struggled with the abrupt lack of purpose. Housel's idea that retirement is about control, not idleness, felt like a healthier and more fulfilling approach. The book closes with a profound reflection on happiness and money. Housel emphasizes that money is a tool. It can't buy happiness, but it can buy freedom, peace of mind, and security. He argues that true financial success isn't about hitting a specific number in your bank account. It's about living a life that aligns with your values and priorities. As I finished this section, I couldn't help but think about the countless times I've stressed over financial goals that, in hindsight, weren't as important as I made them out to be. Housel's reminder to focus on what truly matters, family, health, and meaningful experiences, was a powerful conclusion to a book that is as much about self-awareness as it is about money. The Psychology of Money is an extraordinary book because it speaks to the human side of finance, the emotions, fears, and ambitions that drive our decisions. Morgan Housel doesn't just teach us about money, he teaches us about ourselves. This isn't a book about getting rich quick. It's about building a mindset that fosters long-term success, resilience, and happiness. Whether you're just starting your financial journey or reevaluating your relationship with money, this book offers timeless wisdom. Its lessons will stick with you, not just for the practical tips, but for the perspective it provides on living a balanced and purposeful life. And that wraps up our deep dive into The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This book isn't just about money. It's about how we think, behave, and make decisions in a world full of financial uncertainty and emotional complexity. Housel reminds us that managing money isn't about mastering formulas or chasing trends. It's about mastering ourselves. One of the most profound lessons is the realization that wealth isn't what you see. It's the freedom, security, and peace of mind that come from living below your means and making thoughtful, intentional decisions. As Housel points out, true wealth is often invisible, and those who focus on building financial resilience rather than showing off material possessions are the ones who truly thrive in the long term. Another key takeaway is the importance of defining your own version of enough. It's easy to get caught up in comparison and the constant pursuit of more, but Housel's wisdom challenges us to rethink what success really means. The endless chase for more can lead to stress, poor decisions, and even financial ruin. Instead, understanding what truly matters, freedom, time, and relationships, helps us align our financial goals with our values. I found the concept of the 40-year perspective especially eye-opening. Money decisions are rarely about the short term. They're about playing the long game. Housel's exploration of compounding, patience, and long-term thinking is a reminder that success doesn't happen overnight. Small, consistent decisions made over years, not months, are what lead to lasting wealth and security. Throughout the book, Housel emphasizes the importance of preparing for uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and financial resilience isn't about trying to eliminate risk. It's about creating a buffer, a margin of safety that protects us when things go wrong. This perspective resonates deeply because it shifts the focus from trying to control everything to being ready for anything. As I reflect on the lessons of the psychology of money, I'm reminded of how personal money is. Our financial behaviors are shaped by our experiences, emotions, and the stories we tell ourselves. There's no single right way to manage money, and that's okay. What matters is finding an approach that works for you, one that aligns with your unique life circumstances and goals. If this summary resonated with you, take a moment to think about your own relationship with money. Are there areas where you could approach things differently? Maybe you've been focusing too much on external appearances or chasing someone else's definition of success. Or perhaps you've realized the value of patience and long-term thinking. Whatever it is, the insights from this book offer a foundation for a healthier, more intentional financial future. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more thought-provoking book summaries. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. What lesson from the psychology of money impacted you the most, and how do you plan to apply these insights to your life? Thank you for watching and joining us on this journey through the psychology of wealth and decision-making. Remember, financial success isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's not about being the richest person in the room, but about building a life of purpose, freedom, and peace of mind. Until next time, stay intentional, stay focused, and redefine what wealth means to you. See you in the next video.